Hello, this is Brother Teacher again. Yes, I'm on this subject once again. The subject of Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, the UFC fighter. Now, if you haven't already seen the video that I posted, whereby I made the statement that Conor McGregor was going to beat the boxer Floyd Mayweather this coming August, then you just may want to check that out. But since I did the video, I received I can't say a landslide of negative comments, but there were people that weighed in and told me, out of respect, Brother Teacher, because Floyd is a seasoned boxer, he's going to defeat or beat Conor. And then on the other side, actually remarkably enough, on the other side, there were people who believed very much that Conor will be the prevailing fighter on that particular day. Now, mind you, I use the term fighter. It's because it's common. But that's the purpose of this video. Excuse me. Not to hold your attention too long, but this is really the underlying subject matter of this issue. Fighter. So oftentimes in sports we use the term fighter. When we're talking martial arts sports, we say fighter. When we're talking boxing, we say fighter. When we're talking UFC, we're talking fighter. Most contact sports where it's mano a mano, if you will, we call the participants gladiators, or we call them fighters. Now, depending on what school of thought you're coming from, it's going to define what that word means. The context by which I am using it is the context that most people probably subliminally do not know that they're using it in, and that is to give credit to an individual as being a very proficient fighter, both in and out of the ring. So, cutting to the chase, Floyd Mayweather is a boxer. As I said before, Mayweather is a very good boxer, in my viewpoint. Not an excellent boxer or great boxer. He is a very good boxer. I like being entertained when I watch his fights, but there are things that I don't like about him in terms of his personal approach to the sport of boxing, where he flaunts money around, because I believe that character has everything to do with your status in society. It does. Now, getting back to him being a fighter, Floyd Mayweather is a sports boxer. Boxing is a deadly undertaking if you were fighting someone even in a street fight, and that individual does not have boxing skills or any other skill, or if it's just a street Joe just off the block. Boxing is very formidable, it's very deadly even in a street encounter, but it's not fighting. When you go to the boxing ring, you have rules. No headbutting, no gouging, no punching in the groin. You can't grapple someone to the ground. These types of things in boxing. I'm sure you know this. So you may not be able to utilize all of your complete physical strength against an individual and your tactics, as it were, because of those rules in boxing. But let's flip the script for a moment and go to UFC. UFC is a sport as well. But you have a whole lot of other tools that you can use. The difference in UFC and boxing is limited to just hand techniques. And that is the mindset of the participant, only using hands and becoming very skillful at doing that. Bobbing, weaving, ducking, lead, straight jab, right cross, uppercuts, and so forth. But when we get to the mixed martial arts aspect of things, did you hear what it said? Mixed. You're talking about a fighter, let's use that term now, or an individual participant who can use headbutts, they can punch, they can use submission holds, joint locks, throws, takedowns, elbows. Do you see the difference? So here's what I'm getting at. When we say that Floyd Mayweather can beat Conor McGregor, or a person like Conor McGregor, what are we basing it on? Only on boxing. Because Conor has never professionally boxed. He doesn't have the skill set of a real boxer who has boxed for many years. Floyd Mayweather is a tactician. He is elusive. He is 49-0 in his stats. He is the greatest boxer of our time, which I disagree with. So, Floyd Mayweather is a superior boxer, and he's going to decimate Conor McGregor. That's the mindset of Floyd Mayweather's camp. That's his mindset. And it's also the mindset of most boxers and promoters. I've seen some of the feedback. That's the mindset of Floyd Mayweather. Mind you again. Let's flip over to Conor McGregor's mindset. First of all, he's not an individual that's just been in the ring boxing. He's had a whole toolbox of things that he could use on his opponents. So in his mind, he's thinking more animalistic from that standpoint, because he has much more in the way of tools available to him. Yes, there are rules like there are rules in boxing, but the rules are not that limited. You can't gouge in the eye. There's various other things that you can't do in MMA according to their rules and their sanctions. However, there's a lot of things that you can do that open up the floodgates for the punishment that you can put on another individual. And that mindset, just knowing that you can do all of those things to your opponent, makes you a formidable adversary. So Conor has experienced many aspects of fighting in the ring, of real fighting. Many aspects of fighting, grappling, boxing, kicking, karate, if you will, inside the ring, where Floyd Mayweather has not. So what's the difference, brother teacher? You're going to take Conor out of his zone. You're going to take him out of his element. But did you really take him out of his element? So if he had all of these tools available to him, because he did box in the ring, he did kick in the ring, he did grapple in the ring, it was just not exclusively boxing, because he would have had to just had that mindset of boxing if it was that. So let's put him in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. People are looking at Floyd and saying that this is a boxing match and he's the boxer. That's what he's always done, is just boxing. Then you put Conor on the other side, the man who's done everything in the ring. All you have done was taken away everything other than punching. But what you have not taken away is the mindset of being a fighter, a true fighter. You see, Floyd is thinking boxing from the way in which he trained. Conor is thinking fighter. Every aspect of the animalistic part of being a fighter. You've just taken some of his tools away, but it does not take his intent away. He still has the intent of a fighter. So I'm going to bring it home to you in this way. If we were to take Floyd Mayweather and we placed him in a street situation against one of the most vicious street fighters, just a street fighter, somebody's going to use their hands, Floyd would probably take care of that individual. Put Conor McGregor in the same situation, Conor's probably going to take care of that individual faster. Now, let me put it this way. Does what Floyd Mayweather do in the ring as a fighter, boxer, fighter, sport, does it translate to a street fight? Yes, against someone who's using just their hands. Now, does what Conor McGregor do in the ring translate to a street fight? More so than Floyd. Why? Because what he does in the octagon, he can do in the street. Amped up, escalated even more. Because that's what he does all of the time. So what are you saying, brother teacher? I'm saying this. Boxing is not fighting. Even if you call him a fighter. Let's say you call a boxer a fighter. That might be okay. If we're speaking semantically. Oh, he's a great fighter. The greatest fighter of all time, Muhammad Ali. I love the man. But we're talking about boxing, the sport. Now, when you take an MMA fighter or someone in the UFC or Pride or what have you inside the ring who has all of these tools available to them, and you put them in a street situation, who stands to walk away from the fight, and the real fight that is? Is it going to be the boxer, or is it going to be the mixed martial arts individual? I put my money on the MMA guy all day long. Doesn't mean that the boxer doesn't have skills. It just means that he's limited. It means that he is only trained in one aspect. And that's all he believes in, is that one aspect of fighting, if you want to call it that. But when you take the guy who has kicks and knees and elbows and chokes and submissions and joint locks and throws, and you put him in a street situation like the boxer, he is overly qualified, overly confident, because he has all of the tools available to him, and he trains with that mindset. So I'm talking about mindset. It's all about mindset. It doesn't mean that Floyd Mayweather is not focused. He's a focused boxer in the sport of boxing, and he's just probably outboxed most guys in the sport of boxing. But when you take a Conor McGregor, and I'm using him now, but I can pick anyone, Evander Silva, Frank Shamrock. I can pick anyone, past and present, in the UFC, in any mixed martial arts arena, and I can say the same thing. They are real fighters. Of course, it's a sport. We know that, because you have to have rules or you're going to have an outrage from the public. But in terms of that which is closer to reality, fighting, boxing down, mixed martial arts up. That's the difference. So let's say, peradventure, August 26th, Floyd Mayweather beats Conor McGregor, is he going to beat him by decision? It could happen. Could very well happen. What if he knocked him out? It could be anybody's game on that day, just like football any given Sunday. It could be anybody's day. What if he knocked Conor out? Does it make me or all of the other proponents who say that mixed martial arts is greater than boxing? Does it make us wrong? No. We're still talking about rules. So let's say Floyd beats Conor August 26th. Does it make him the greatest fighter? No, sir. No, ma'am. Not at all. It just makes him possibly the greater boxer on that particular day in the sport of boxing. But let's do this. Think for a moment. Take the gloves off of Floyd Mayweather. Take the gloves off of Conor McGregor and place them both in the octagon. Who would win? Oh, some of you all just don't want to accept this idea. Floyd would lose quickly. And I'd venture to say that he would lose quickly against most MMA fighters that would stand in front of him in the octagon. You know why? He's only comfortable in his element. I believe Conor is going to be as confident in the boxing ring as he is in the octagon because he has the mind of a real fighter. Conor himself said, forget the boxing. If we were just fighting, I would whoop his behind. And you know what? Floyd knows this. Despite the millions of dollars that he made or has made, and even what he's going to make, despite his reputation and his name and his pretty showboat looks, it won't matter in a real fight. Conor would decimate Floyd Mayweather, as would any other MMA fighter do the same to Mayweather. So, in my conclusion, and I say this with all respect, I say it again, Floyd Mayweather, I enjoy watching any sporting event. I enjoy watching boxing, MMA, and so forth. Floyd Mayweather is a high-profile boxer known by moneymaker. He likes to flaunt his money around. He's 40 years old today. Conor McGregor is 28 years old. An all-around tactician. Expert at what he does, if you want to call him an expert. I put my money in a street fight on McGregor. Who do you put your money on? If you were true to yourself, would you say that Floyd has as great of a chance in the street against Conor McGregor as he does in the ring? I think you'd be lying to yourself if you say Floyd would beat him. We're not talking about referees jumping in. We're not talking about a time clock. We're talking about mano a mano, doing what you do. That is truly when we will find out who the real fighter is. Not just in a ring, a boxing ring, governed by rules that favor the man who does it for a living, and saying that the man who doesn't box for a living is any less. So you should think on these things. Conor has had, again, and this might be redundant, he has had again the real eye of the tiger, because he has not been that restricted in what he is able to do. Pardon me for a second. He has not really been restricted as to what he can do in the ring against a man. Very limited rules in MMA, but there's a lot more rules in boxing. And the fact that Conor has that mindset, that's the advantage that he has over Floyd Mayweather, is that he is thinking of being a real fighter, not just a boxer. That's it. Let me know what your feelings are, your comments in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think a boxer in general could beat a martial artist in the street? Do you think a boxer in general could beat an MMA fighter in the street? Can their boxing translate to the street effectively, as opposed to their counterpart, the MMA fighter, who most definitely can translate into the street? That's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you understand this. Please leave very detailed comments, please, and be very respectful if you can. I would appreciate that. And I'm not talking about anyone. I'm not beating anyone up. I'm just giving a commentary. It's just a commentary, ladies and gentlemen. It's not saying someone is the poorest individual in the world or deplorable individual. I'm just stating facts. A boxer is not a real fighter. Can he kill you? Can he hurt you? Can he cripple you and maim you? Yes, he or she can. But an MMA fighter is a real fighter. It takes a lot more to be on that level, irrespective of the training, how difficult the training is for both. It takes a lot more to be on that level of fighting than it does to be a boxer. This is Brother Teacher. I hope to hear from you soon, and I'll hit you back. Not literally. So long.